Okay, hey, this is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today's the 13th, Friday the 13th, and I thought I would comment on this a little bit because I saw something about people in wonderment over being able to farrow in the wintertime without a house and a source of heat and all that stuff. And so the video from last night was when I got home and I came out to check these girls because I got 5 right in this little field right here with the boar, and they're all due. And the other ones are over there eating right now. I'm not sure if I'm getting it. And then one of them farrowed in this hut right here. And sometimes I call them porta huts, but they're not porta huts. These come from FarmTech, and they're calf hutches is what they call them. And those are some over there. I've got 5 of them, and I put them in a circle. I'm trying something new. It's just an experiment, but it seems what happens is we have a lot of bedding right in the middle here. I dropped a bale here, and then I bedded each one of these just with a fork real quick. But what the sows do is when they get ready to deliver, they look for a place, and if there's a hut here and it's available, you'll see them from the house with mouthfuls of straw going and building a nest. And you could have 20 of these things out here. I have 10 total, and I've had all 10 set up before. A few years ago, there's a southeast field over there. It turned out to be kind of a bad field because of the wind, and so we don't use it for farrowing anymore. This field right here is somewhat sheltered, because I have those stretch of woods over there, and so that stops the wind. Normally the wind here is coming from the southwest, so it comes right up here, and those trees kind of block it. So it's nice, it's warm right here comparatively, and the animals can sense 5 degrees warmer than another place, and that's where they'll plop. That's where they'll just lay down in the snow. So they've typically laid down right in this area. So that's why I put the huts here, and I did kind of put them in a circle. They were already here. The pigs were already bedding down here when there was no huts here. And this is when they weren't even close to being ready to farrow. I mean, it wasn't even really cold yet. I mean, not cold like it is now. It's right now, it's 11. Last night when I came home, I'm watching the temp gauge, and it's like 26, and I knew I was going to farrow. And I got home, and sure enough, this girl had right here. She's one of the brindles, and she had a small litter. She only had 4, but it is warm in here. And the key, I think, to farrowing, as I've thought about this in the wintertime, before when we used to do just regular farm pigs, no way, I wouldn't even attempt it. But those pigs were not as smart as these ones. These ones, the Mangalitsa is closer to the rootstock, which would be the Eurasian, the wild boar. They're closer to that. When we start getting out in the land race and the Yorkshire and all that, those are production pigs. Those are intended for, inside 60 degrees, warm water, prepared feed, all that. And the advantage of those pigs is they have huge litters, and they're very long pigs, so the producers get more pork chops out of them. Our pigs are a completely different deal. We don't want the other white meat. We want red meat. We want the pigs to be on pasture. We want them tough. Now, these 4 babies right here, she's going to farrow twice a year, and normally they have 7 or 8. That's what my herd does. This girl having 4 like this, I'm really wondering why. And then maybe it's time to swap out my boar here. This is Friendly, and he's been around here for going on 4 years now, so maybe it's time to swap him out. And I do have another guy that I can rotate through until I find who I want. So maybe I'll do that. And maybe now's the time to do that. At least I can try. But if these guys make it, and let's say that they make it until, next week sometime, I have no reason to believe that they won't go all the way, But, things happen. But they will be extremely tough animals. They were born outside in a little hut like this. Today it's 11 degrees, and they're fine right up against their mom. One of the things that she needs is dry bedding. And the first 3 days or so after they birth, they stay right in their hut. They might wander out a little bit to get a crunch of snow or something, but generally they just stay in there. So there's no traffic in and out of the hut, so there's no snow, and it stays fairly dry, which is good. Last night I brought down an armload of really nice dry stuff out of the barn and put it in there for her. But she's doing fine. I'm not going to do anything else for her today. I just wanted to show you. I'll show you again. Yeah, it's not a real great view. She's got 4. They're solid looking babies. As you may notice, these heritage breeds are smaller, and there's not as many of them. But see, she's got an advantage, and she's got a really nice coat. She's furry. If you look at her bag, she's very well fed. She's got a ton of fat that she can pass on to them. So I guess there's a good shot. Oh, she got out of the way of them for a second. For folks that are wondering about Farrow, and see, now watch, she lays down very carefully. She's not going to lay on any of her babies. These guys don't do that. So for people that are wondering, how do you do it? How do you farrow without heat lamps and all this other stuff? I think it's a couple of things. I think it's a combination of things. The Mangalitsa is very close to the rootstock of pigs. So they're designed to do well, to survive. And that's what she's doing. She's surviving. So that's part of it. And the other part is, the farmer's got to do his part too. You got to provide him with something. I mean, if she was in the snow right now, they could get wet, or on a snowy night, that wouldn't be good. Or if the wind was hitting them real hard, I think their chances of making it would diminish. So the farmer gives them a good place to be in, which, these huts are great. I've talked about these before. They come out of FarmTech. I think they're $400. Paid for themselves the first year I had them. And then dry bedding. Dry bedding is imperative. And what we'll do is, in the future, we will help her by bringing bedding out and just putting it in there. And this is going to get deeper and deeper. They're going to manure in there, she'll manure in there, and it starts to break down and it makes heat. Her urine will start to make heat in the straw. And so it becomes a nice, warm, moist environment, which is good for them in the winter. Now, a month from now, we're going to be February. They will be out here running around, and they'll be in great shape. 2 months, we'll start getting into spring. So it seems a little bleak doing this in the wintertime, but winter moves along. It moves right along. We're already buying seeds out of the seed catalog, so Okay, Mark from Baker's Green Acres. Anyone can farm.